Greetings. So, I just wanted to do a little personal Sankofa and share it with you. So, put my hands out of the frame. So, what I'm Sankofaing today, it's a lot going on inside. First off, it's my mother-in-law's birthday. So, joyeux anniversaire, mama. She won't see this. She's not on social media at all. But anyway, still, I'm wishing her happy birthday. And also, I just came back from my very first writing workshop, and it was fantastic. And I really enjoyed myself, and I can't wait to go back next week. And it just got me thinking about life and just reflecting and doing some of my own Sankofa work. And one of the things that often comes up for me when I start looking back is food and my family's history with food. And if you know, you know I come from a line of bakers and cooks, as we used to call them, cookers and bakers, right? Because they know how to cook and they know how to bake. And this month or last month, I found myself baking quite a bit. And it was just kind of like pound cake month. And it was really a lot of fun. But one cannot live on pound cake alone, right? So I had to cool it with pound cake. But I did enjoy it. So we had, I started off, kicked it off with a butter pound cake that I toasted on the grill. And we made like a raspberry sauce and served it with warm raspberry sauce. And I had some vegan vanilla ice cream. It was just fantastic. And then I made a mango pound cake with the lime icing. And the last pound cake was a peach pound cake with fresh peaches that I picked from the orchard and a peach glaze. It was just ridiculously delicious. And I just got to thinking and of my love of baking and my love of cooking and my love of eating. And yeah, so I get that passed down from my grandmothers. So the furthest grandmother back that I know, that I got this from was my great grandmother, my mother's grandmother, uh, and we called her Grandma. And Grandma was an excellent cook and an outstanding baker. And so I used to watch her in the kitchen. At one point, she lived across the street from me for some years, and so I would just go to her house almost every day, just just go hang out with her and with my cousins who lived with her. And I would watch her in the kitchen when she was baking, and she would just, show me what she was doing. I would ask questions, and she would answer them. And prior to that, from the time I was little, I can remember being like 6, maybe even 5, before my brother was born. And my grandmother, my nana, would have us in the kitchen, and she would be making the cakes, and she would have us grandkids beating the beating the cake batter. So and I just can remember her like handing us a bowl and saying, "Here, beat this for 300 strokes," and then you just pop, 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 get that cake beat. And so yeah, baking is a part of me, and it's a part of me that I love, And I did also learn how to bake things that are a little healthier, that don't have as much sugar, or some things with no sugar, using different natural sweeteners or using coconut sugar or date sugar. Because there was a time in which I just felt like, oh, this is such a terrible, terrible hobby, and it's not helping people. It might actually be hurting them. So I wouldn't bake at all. Um, but it was something that I did love to do, and yeah, and I just was thinking about that today as I was writing stories in this writing workshop. We had a lot of things that they would give us prompts and we would reflect on them and then write a monologue about them. And so I've just been in a reflective mood this afternoon, I guess. And yeah, so I just decided, let me go back into my own personal history and into my own collection of memories and see what I can bring forward. And that's one of the memories. Those are some of the memories. Some of my happiest days are doing that, are just, spent in the kitchen baking. And yeah, just can hear my great grandmother, you know, and I asked, I'll never forget, she used to make this German chocolate cake. It was so good. And I just, it was like magical to me. It just tasted so good. And she only made it like once a year. Like she wouldn't make it all the time. And so one year I remember she was making it. And I said, Grandma, how do you make that? How do you make the German chocolate cake? And she said, you just follow the recipe. And I just remember like, oh, that's it? Like, you don't have to know everything and have it all memorized and have. She said, here, this is the card, and it comes on the box of the chocolate. You just follow the recipe. And then she let me make it. She said, here, go ahead and make it. And I made the cake, and she watched, and it came out just like hers. And I just learned that, yeah, just follow the recipe, and you'll be fine if you have one, But sometimes there's no recipe, and you have to figure it out. But it's also helpful to just know some things. So, like when you're baking, it's very helpful to know about the 1, 2, 3, 4 cake, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4 cake is just that. It's 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, 4 eggs. Okay, did I get that? So I've flipped it to 1 cup of sugar, 2 sticks of butter, because 2 sticks of butter equals a cup of butter. So 1 cup of sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 3 cups of flour, and 4 eggs. And then you just figure it out from there, right? If you're a baker, you cream the butter with the sugar. You you're gonna put some baking soda or baking powder in that flour, right? So if you're gonna put 3 cups of 3 cups of flour, you're gonna put 3 cups of baking powder in there. You're going to sift all of that together. You're going to separate out your eggs because you're going to want to have the yolks added in with the liquids, but you're going to want to whip those egg whites until they're light and fluffy. You're going to fold that into the finished batter before you put it in the oven. So certain things you're just going to know, like a 1, 2, 3, 4 cake. And then sometimes you're going to know how to flip it around because you're going to say, ooh, 2 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. Let me flip it. And I'm going to still do the basics, but I'm going to change it up a little. So I guess that's a thing for life, right? We can know the recipe by heart and by mind so that we can flip it around. Or if someone has already walked that path and figured out the spots for you to avoid and the ways for you to go, and they hand it to you, they give you the map, you can just follow the recipe. So I guess if we can Sankofa my baking history, my foodie history, we can see that there's some life lessons that we were learning in there without even knowing it. And so thank you, Nana. Thank you, Grandma. I'm no shade to any of my other grandmothers, but those are the two that I sat in the kitchen with. Those are the two that I baked with. I still wish Nana had a recipe for that apple pie. She didn't, and none of us can replicate it. My cousin Sandy came close. And I can make a decent, my apple pie is good, but it was just something about Nana's apple pie. And if you know, you know. But, yeah. So sometimes there's just going to be mystery too, huh? Sometimes in life there's just going to be the mysteries of life. And that makes it fun and that makes it enjoyable. So that's all. So I guess that's what we sign for this afternoon or today or whatever time you're watching this. But thanks for taking the time. And my little remote's not working, so I'm going to have to press the button. Ciao for now.